I have your attention, please? Thank you. It's tight, but it's such a wonderful thing to see all of you here to celebrate this day. Thank you. My name is Betsy Mulligan-Degg, and I'm the Executive Director of the Jeannette Rankin Peace Center. And right now, I would like to present the Congolese choir, who are going to gift us with some music to start this celebration. Organizing that choir, and we are so grateful to have you in Missoula with us. I would like to now, we're going to start this afternoon off with our Young Peacemakers, and I'd like to bring up Jessica Jewell, who's worked on that project, to get us into that.
Father Jim Hogan began the Search for Peace Award in 2001 after 9/11. He wanted to give children an opportunity to offer us an inspiring perspective and teach us what peace is. It originated as an art contest throughout the Missoula schools. When Father Hogan retired, the Jeannette Rankin Peace Center took over to ensure the award would continue on. Last year, we decided to make a big change. And instead of art, we wanted to incorporate stories of young people doing great peace work. It is these real-life experiences that truly challenge and inspire us to find peace in our world. We put out a call for nominations from the community and had a committee of young people review the nominations and make the selections. It is important that this award is youth-driven. This year, we had a committee of 4 young people helping by distributing flyers, reviewing our nominations, and selecting who the recipients will be. And now I would like to introduce one of our youth committee members, Paxton Swerk, who will present our 2019 nominees. Paxton.
Hello, everybody. As I share the name of our nominees, would they please come forward to the stage, and would they wait here so that at the end we can introduce and award to somebody. So first, I'd like to invite up Lily and Maisie Miller. Lily and Maisie are 2 young sisters of the ages of 13 and 11. They work together in order to support girls' equity all around our world. They were first inspired to spread peace after reading Malala's book and discovering that so many girls were underprivileged and unable to attend school in the world. While she was in the 4th grade, Lily started her first nonprofit called Lily's Lovebirds. In this, she sewed lovebirds out of fabric scraps in order to help girls in Nepal and all around the world go to school. Inspired by her sister, Maisie created her own nonprofit, known as Brave Bikes, where she makes button bikes named after female role models in her own life. She used these funds to help create bikes for girls in Malawi, so they could get themselves to school. Recently, Lily has also created the I Play project for 8th grade graduation project, where she mentors young girls to keep playing sports. This physical activity can lead to lifelong health, increased self-confidence, and increased graduation rates. They have spread their amazing projects with their peers in the classroom and other settings and went viral and were covered by the local media when they brought their friends together to repair the vandalized rainbow sidewalk here in Missoula. Together, these 2 young girls have shown that nobody is ever too young to make a difference for the world. Next, I would like to invite up Cecilia Spencer. Cecilia is a 4th grader who is active in the constant effort to create justice and harmony. She works very hard to help people who are in need of her help or having a rough or sad time. She does this through things like writing notes to kids, encouraging them on, and telling them that they are awesome. They can say things such as, "You're doing great," or "Have a good day." Even more remarkably, she doesn't tell people that she's doing it. She'll just slip these notes under kids' desks. To me, this is especially amazing, as it shows that she is doing these things out of pure kindness of spirit and not for any possible personal reasons. She also regularly volunteers to help out kids who may be struggling with something in class. She's willing to give up her own time to help out others. This all shows her true empathy and kind-heartedness, especially for somebody of such a young age. Up next, I'd like to talk about 3 high school juniors from the Sealy Lake community who have actively engaged to bring awareness to what they believe in through writing through the Junior American Studies Journalism Project, in which they chose to report on issues even though these issues could have had potential community backlash. They did not let this scare them off. First, I'd like to bring up Kara Good. Kara published a story that brought light to the refugee problem and population in Missoula. The people have been displaced. She meant to inform the masses of the available resources, how those resources are currently being used, and the discrimination that the refugees here face within our community. Next, I'd like to bring up Blake Lindemer. Blake has a passion for cleaning up the environment. He followed this by creating a story focusing on how plastic is impacting the ocean and potential businesses that are making steps to reduce their plastic production and consumption. Lastly, I'd like to bring up Emma Stevenson. Emma wrote an issue that's close to her heart by addressing injustices in Native American communities. She spent ample time interviewing people and organizations throughout the country for information on the missing and murdered Indigenous women across America and the lack of attention paid to them. Currently, all of these students are working to letters to officials regarding various other peace, social justice, and sustainability issues, including women's education around the world, solutions to climate change, protection of marine life, and the meaning of consent. Their journalism stories were selected by their class to appear on the front page of their class newspaper, where it was distributed throughout the Sealy Lake community and Missoula through the university, meaning that their amazing writing has influenced many for the better. This capacity for compassion, empathy, and knowledge is remarkable for their age, and they're great leaders who are pushing for change. Next, I would like to introduce Allison Morin. Allison Morin is a first grader at Jeannette Rankin Elementary School. She's extremely compassionate, empathetic, hardworking, resilient, creative, and engaging. She is constantly helping her peers around her. She's quick to offer light in almost any negative situation and is extremely sensitive. She has participated in 2 of that Out of the Darkness community walks in Missoula that help bring suicide awareness. She has volunteered to hand out gun walks at the Missoula Gun Show. She has helped sell raffle tickets at an Osprey game to fundraise for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and has taken part in a highway cleanup in Tura. She spreads peace simply through being present with those in our community. She emits positive energy wherever she goes and shows genuine desire to bring peace to nearly any situation. Lastly, I would like to invite up the 7 members of the University Congregational United Church of Christ youth group that were able to attend today. Clara Hahn, Helen McGeary, Kiera Scovlin, Grace Cassins, the youth leader, George Cassins, Karen Clark Cassins, the youth director, and Jennifer Yoka, the pastor. This is a youth group of teenagers who meet 3 times a week. They have 10 active members between the ages of 13 and 17, along with 8 others that attend occasionally. The group is active in social justice by aiding with food insecurities, homelessness, care for the earth, care for abandoned animals, reducing gun violence, and Native American reservation issues. They have done over 20 large projects for these causes, including raising over $1,050 last year and nearly $3,900 this year for the Missoula Food Bank, collecting hundreds of pairs of socks, gloves, and hats for Christmas gifts at the Poverello Center, spending hours folding laundry, cleaning out litter boxes, and socializing with cats at animals, picking up garbage along trails and rivers multiple times, marching for the earth, raising $1,100 for the camp, Mimanagisha's LBGTQ camp, and many other jobs. They will even travel to Sale, Arizona from July 28th to August 2nd this year to work with the Sierra Service Project to help homeowners make housing safe, warm, and accessible on the Navajo Reservation. These youth constantly lead by example and enthusiastically invite others of all ages to join them in addressing inequity on national and local levels. They are kind-hearted, socially aware, determined to make a difference, and compassionate to those around them. Thank you.
leadership and activism of our nominees, I'm sure you can understand the difficulty our youth committee had deciding who to select this year. The youth committee then decided to choose multiple recipients, and the cash award given by Father Hogan will be split between them. I would like to introduce Father Jim Hogan, the creator of the Father Jim Hogan Search for Peace Award. He was our Peacemaker of the Year in 2000 and has since continued to be an inspiration and active peacemaker in our community. Father Jim Hogan, please come up and introduce or announce this year's award recipients.
Look at all those people out there. They didn't come here because of the beer, which is very good. They came here because of you. Now, I'm kind of Irish, and I can easily get tears. And I'm sitting here listening to the kind of people you are, and I get choked up. And I know that I can say that probably everybody in this room feels the exact same thing. If we get concerned about the future of our world, what we need is a good tonic, and people like you are that tonic. You kind of give us a refreshment, a renewal, and awaken a new enthusiasm in ourselves. Be serious about life and our world. And so for all of the people you've touched, I think it's fitting that we would say thank you. So.
Thank you.
So first we have a certificate for some of you, Allison Moran. Thank you and congratulations, dear. Emma Stevenson. Blake Lindemer. Kara Good. Cecilia Spencer. And for you who are the University Congregational United Church of Christ Youth Group, I have a certificate here that reads, awarded for outstanding contributions toward and leadership for peace, social justice, and sustainability. And in addition to that, I have in my pocket a check for $200 that you can use as you decide. So who's going to come up? So So the two of you received the Father Jim Hogan Peace Award. And Lily, I'll let you put that around your own neck, please. And Maisie, and for each of you, there's a check for $150. Again, to be used as you wish for whatever it is that you want to use it for. And these are small, simple expressions of gratitude, appreciation, and hope for the kind of people you are. So again, we all just gather around you with our love and appreciation and say thank you.
I gotta get a picture of everything. Thank you all. Thank you. You are all amazing. Thank you all. Peacemakers are not just born, they are nurtured in a community and in families. So thank you all. Young peacemakers, keep up the good work, all of you. Thank you. Now I would like to bring forward the Missoula Women's Chorus, the Montana Women's Chorus Missoula chapter, under the direction of Beth Youngblood, who are also going to gift us with some music.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. Seremos conocidos por el amor, por los que cuidan estos fuegos sagrados. Seremos conocidos por el árbol vivo que nos da las semillas de cambio. Ya es hora de crecer, ya es hora de que nos lleve al pozo. Ya es hora, y a qué hora de vivir en el congiro guiaremos por el amor. En el gran giro guiaremos por el amor. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. Join us. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. Again. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
Thank you to the women's chorus. What a time to be alive and what a group to be known by. Thank you for being here. We are all known by each other today. Back in 1986, several women got together to make a difference in the world they knew with the things that they knew how to do. They got together in fellowship and they made a quilt. And they gave it to Flo Chesson. I don't know if Flo Chesson is here. There are a few seats. If somebody needs a seat to sit down, there are a few up here still. But they made a quilt for Flo Chesson for the work that she was doing to spread peace in this community. And they realized the power in that gesture to give a quilt to someone who was doing good things. It was a way that they balanced out the news of tragedies that they heard on the television and the radio and the newspaper. And the Missoula Quilters, Missoula Peace Quilters, came to be in 1986. Well, we certainly need a balance for the negative news today, maybe more than they did in 1986. So this award since then has become a Missoula tradition. The Jeannette Rankin Peace Center was just getting started, and we were a natural partner for this work. We have a very unique mission at the Peace Center to be a place for folks to come and reflect on and learn about and dialogue together about what it means to make peace and how we do that together. What does that mean and how do we do that? So this award every year is a great way for us to make that mission come alive, because it's our chance to honor a local hero who is doing the work of teaching us what peace is and how it is that we make that together. Fernanda and Robert are our 33rd Peacemakers. They join a list of incredible folks who you're going to meet some later who make peace visible for the rest of us. But first I'd like to ask the members of the Jeannette Rankin Peace Center board who are here to raise their hands. I normally would say stand, but everybody is standing, so raise your hands if you're on the Peace Center board. If you want to find out more about what we do, please talk to one of those folks. Your support helps keep us going and keep our work going. We believe that peacemaking is more than just talking to people that you agree with. It's about finding that place in the middle where we can dialogue about what that means together and how we can solve our problems together. So if that's something that sounds like something you believe, we would love to have you join us. So talk to us. Last fall, the group that you just met and the Missoula Peace Quilters got together and reviewed the nominations that you all sent in for Peacemaker for 2019. And I can tell you the decision is always a very difficult one, much like the Youth Peacemaker Award. Because, you know, we live in an amazing community, don't we? Missoula is an amazing community with lots of good things happening. But these two sitting right here in front of the balloons are incredible choices for 2019 Peacemakers. They are definitely worthy of a grand celebration. gain by taking the easy way out or talking to the choir. Our lives have meaning because we make conscious choices to reach outside of that, to recognize the encounters and the opportunities that take us out of our comfort zone and into something bigger than our own existence. It's easy to see the logic of stepping outside the choir, right? But it is incredibly difficult to do. The brewery logo is a bison, and there's one there, there's one there, there's bison everywhere. It is the only animal that walks into an oncoming storm. So it becomes for us a symbol of our willingness and our comfort walking into the conflicts in our own lives, because it is only by walking into them that healing and understanding can occur. Robert, a peace and conflict resolution specialist, and Fernanda, a trauma psychologist, have traveled to conflict zones around the world to repair damages of conflict and help heal and rebuild lives and communities. And when they settled here in Missoula, they wanted to continue that work. They wanted to help our community build peace. So they built this Center for Transformation, and it also happens to have a brewery, so that we can sit with each other in community and be supported as we hold conversations that are critical in our world. Whether it is how we individually are going to make it through our day, or how we as a community are going to build a better place to live. They're all made possible here over a beer. And not just any beer, an incredible beer with names like Propinquity or Freedom Fighter, things that inspire us, not just refresh us, right? In Africa, there is a concept known as Ubuntu. I am because we are. The profound sense that we are human only and because of the humanity of others. That everything is connected and everyone is connected. You think about that in this room with all of us crowded in, every thread is connecting us. We are all who we are because of every single person that you're sitting next to and the way that we are in community together. It isn't about me or you. It is about us and how we do that together and our ability to work together. And Fernanda and Robert are drawn to this concept. They live this concept. And imagination is the place where we can connect to do the work of Ubuntu, of being and celebrating our common humanity. They have led the way by giving to over 600 different organizations a place to host dialogues and community building events. You can look at the wall behind me to see just a snapshot of what that looks like. Conversations we need to have about LGBT rights, veterans issues, climate work, or refugee needs. All have been given a voice here in this space. And more than 25% of the profits made here have gone back to those organizations to empower that work. I know you all probably saw the article in the Missoulian on Wednesday, but I have become fond of quoting Robert from that article. How are things going to change in our community if we're just sitting and perhaps hiding behind screens? Ultimately, what we need to do may sound old-fashioned, but we need to sit in front of each other. We need to look each other in the eye We need to share something together, this common humanity we all have. And I think from that base, amazing things are possible. Amazing things are possible from this base. Thank you, Fernanda and Robert, for giving us this space, your hearts, and your work, and your wisdom. Because of you, we have had conversations that matter. We have bridged divides that were difficult, and we are learning to be bison that walk toward oncoming storms. We have invited, more than just me, we have invited some folks to come up and talk to you a little bit about who Fernanda and Robert are, tell you a little bit about them, and after that, the quilters will unveil what we've all been waiting to see, the quilt that was made especially for Robert and Fernanda. The Missoula Peace Quilters have made one for every peacemaker that is unique, one of a kind, only for those peacemakers and their particular story. They've also sent quilts around the world as friendship quilts, but this one is the one we're waiting to see today. But first, we'll have Rita Jankowska-Bradley and Cliff Bradley and Denis Matveev come and talk about Fernanda and Robert. But before they come up, I wanted to ask the staff of Imagine Nation Brewing Company to come forward. Sophie and Ross and Riley and Sarah. Because nothing happens in a vacuum, and they are because you are. Robert and Fernanda. They are because they are. I don't know if you want to say something. You want to say something? Yeah? Because you cross. Come on. Speech.
We're a bunch of freaks and we're scared to speak in front of people, so.
We'll do our best. I don't think anyone prepared anything, but I know I speak for all of us in saying that we are eternally grateful for Robert and Fernanda for letting us into your family, letting us be part of your vision. It's an honor to work here. It's easily the best job I've ever had, and I get to talk to all you beautiful people all the time, and this beautiful staff. So we got a good family here.
I just want to add that I really think it goes without saying that Robert and Fernanda have done a lot for this community, but they've also done a lot for each and every single one of us up here, as well as all of you guys. And I don't think any of us would be the people we are today or where we are right now if it weren't for them being such a big part of our lives. So I just wanted to thank them again for that.
Look at Fernanda and talk to her, I'm going to start crying. She's crying, of course. This is easily the best place in town to work. They're amazing employers. I'm going to start crying. You guys really, truly are an inspiration. Not just here, but for the world. I think that anyone who modeled their businesses after these people, we'd be in an amazing world, and I really do hope that people open their eyes to see what two people can do in such a short amount of time, 4 years. So, you guys are great. I love you. Sarah wants to play with you.
Yeah, I just love you both so much, and I'm so grateful. This has been a life-changing experience, and I love everyone standing on the stage and everyone that comes into the brewery. So, yeah, thank you for creating this.
I already started crying because as soon as Betsy asked us to come up here, basically. But I just wanted to say that, I was so looking forward to working here when I first applied, and I couldn't have imagined how much it would change my life. So thank you, and I can't say anything else because I'm just going to
Excuse me there, Sean. Puts on the mic cord. We're in the same shoes though, so it's all good. Yeah, I haven't worked here a long time, just since February, I believe, but the last few months have just been great. I love the sense of community in this place, and it's just such an inspiration that Fernanda and Robert have fostered that. And yeah, I second what Brooke said, that if more folks could model their businesses in such a fashion, it would be a better world. The sense of community is just so inspiring, and I think peace starts that sense of community. So.
The end. The end. Thank you, Robert and Fernanda. We love you.
So we're the culprits that started all this sobbing. We nominated Fernanda, Mena, Baheto Krum, and Robert Rivers because out of rubble they build peace. We have been blessed to know Fernanda and Robert since 2007. We met Fernanda when Kaha was helping Students for Peace and Justice film series to lead discussions after the films. The movie Breaking the Silence about victims of torture needed someone with special skills. Pedro Marquez of Kaha said he knew a trauma counselor who would be perfect. So he got me in touch with Fernanda and we started communicating. And so soon she came from Helena to Missoula to lead this discussion. The movie was traumatizing. Torture victims are afraid to even speak without each other. Many of us were sobbing. Her leading the post-discussion helped in the process of our immediate recovery, but the impact carried on. Janaina Vieira Marquez, the organizer of the Missoula Mandela Project, was inspired to include a display of flags with names of countries that participated in torture. Currently, out of 196 countries, 141 condone torture. Along with candles to highlight this travesty, Kaha students contributed this display, leading to more community collaboration of art and education. We met Robert at a Faith and Justice training at St. Francis Xavier. He led a training on peace building and nonviolence. In breakout sessions, he guided us in role play to teach compassion with dealing with other people, even those with diverse perspectives and imbalanced power dynamics. I was organizing Jubilee Missoula at the time as part of the international debt cancellation movement. So playing the role of the World Bank president was extremely difficult, to say the least, but it taught me something. Fernanda and Robert both have so much to offer in areas of peacemaking and reconciliation. At their wedding, we met many members of the Nonviolent Peace Force who they had worked with: Denis, Flory, Tiffany, Victoria, Bernard. The 4 days we were with them were uplifting. Being in their presence was not only profoundly moving, but also joyous. They described each other's work as creators of nonviolence, of peace and reconciliation. In their work, they talked about the transfer of pain and hatred into collaboration and love. The ability to find the energy inside themselves to create new worlds together. They said, as they love the world loves them back. Knowing them has changed our lives.
Thank you. Where to start? This place that they created, if they hadn't done anything else in their life, looking at this wall, this place that they've created would be worthy of the Peace Award. But as Rita said, we've known them for many years, but I think the brewery was just a gleam in Robert's eye at the time we met them. And it's because of, we nominated them, Rita and I nominated them because of the work they did with still do with the Nonviolent Peace Force. And them working together as a couple has been inspiring to us and humbling. And they go places that I can't imagine, and I've been some pretty strange places. And it's the Nonviolent Peace Force. It's hard to imagine the work they do and the places they do it. These are places where the Nonviolent Peace Force goes to help bring reconciliation, to protect women and children, to bring peace to places, get people working together instead of against each other, in places that in the world that we may see in a couple news cycles or something in this country, but places where there's been warfare for an entire generation may have grown up and known nothing but war and killing. And to go to a place like that and bring peace and reconciliation is just something, it just truly amazes me. And you know, as people have mentioned, Robert has trained people all over the world in peace, how to make these transformations. Fernanda has worked with trauma victims. You know, in this country, we rightly understand or try to understand post-traumatic stress and have systems that help with that. Imagine some place like the South Sudan. They don't have any of the things that we have to support trauma, and except for people like Fernanda who know how to do that and help women and children who've seen nothing but war for their entire lives. And so that's why this is humbling. And as Rita, but also Rita mentioned that, you know, at their wedding we met some of the most incredible people that we know. Denis is here. Love to just hang out with these folks because, among other things, you know, these are people who know how to really enjoy life because they've seen the opposite of enjoyment. So we had a really wonderful party there at the wedding, I have to say. And so now, you know, as we mentioned, their work continues. These people know how to make change, and we can all learn from them and from the people they brought to Missoula to talk with us, like even this afternoon. And Robert, I think, if I understand, is going to take a few days off from the brewery and go back to South Sudan. So they know how to change the world, and we can all learn from that, and that's why we think they're so deserving of this award. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Fernanda. Rita wants to read a poem she's written for the occasion, so we'd love to hear from her.
If you know me, I always have a poem anymore. So I think Tom Petty's song, "I Won't Back Down," gives us a clue to the resolve that Fernanda and Robert bring to their work. I wrote a poem that I want to share. I hope will take us on a journey to imagine what Robert and Fernanda face when they work beyond borders, and how war can transform into new beginnings as people come together to seek a different path. My poem is called The Color of War. The original version, War is Not Green, was inspired by a Code Pink campaign on Earth Day during the Gulf War. Throat coat tea. War is not green. It is the color sad. Shrapnel biting bone, PTSD and gaping world wounds. War, the color dark and light. Dark days and bright nights awake to the flash of phosphorus and scopes of infrared. War, the color terror of man against man, brother against brother, families in code red fright, taking flight. War, the color of shatter. War, the color deplete, depleted uranium, depleted minds and bodies, of empty shell casings, cluster bomblets, land mines lying in wait for the next misstep or a child's curiosity. It is the color 9. 9 men, women, children, to every soldier dying under rubble. The color of woman wailing in grief. The color of children's heartbeats hardening to stone. 9 million with no country of origin to call home. War, the color of refugees. The color trauma of rape as a weapon. The color oceans of prayers treading water to keep from drowning. The color of neglect of the planet. Trees charred by war. Hurricanes Mitch and Katrina. And Solomon Islands sinking into the sea. The color destroy of mosques, cultural heritage, ancient wisdom. It is targeted killings gone awry at hospitals, schools, and weddings full of expectation. War, the color despair, on parched lips, children's bloated bellies empty with need. War is capital tearing at the flesh of disaster. It is network media co-opting public airways to invent truth, spew hate, sanitize the killing, hide returning coffins, covered in red, white, blue flags of stars and stripes. It is the color prophet, the Pentagon, Raytheon, Blackwater. It is the color of a people changing the dark colors of war to transform to a path of reconciliation. It is Rawa, women of Afghanistan, uniting for peace, freedom, democracy, and rights. It is the color Defy, Asociación de Mujeres Nicaragüenses, Pico Rojo, Nicaraguan woman with red lips, and Argentina's Madres de Plaza de Mayo, 40 years standing in white headscarves embroidered with their children's names. 30,000 children disappeared, desaparecidos. It is the color survive and resist, veterans for peace, and soldiers defying the School of Americas, physicians against nuclear war. The first time war resistors resisting their own fears. The color truth, reporters who dare to tell at the cost of censorship and death threats. It is Reporters Without Borders. It is Mena Mongol. And Missoula's mandala with flags showing countries who condone torture and white candles alight to honor the tortured. It is the color forgive. Victims who speak up to suture wounds, to reconcile, heal. It is South Africa's Robben's Island. The color art. Hip-hop, rap, and reggae musicians amplify lyrics to unify. Poet souls cry out in images of righteous rage. Walt Whitman's belief in affection to solve problems of the Union. Lady Long Soldier's expose of colonizers' language of trickery. The sculptures, who create art out of rubble. Sierra Leone's refugee all-stars bringing hopeful music to the camps. The color faith, religious leaders together across chasms of belief. Miles of tattered prayer flags and peace cranes sent as prayers to Goddess, God, Gaia, the ground of our being, the one in all its manifestations. And the color prayer at Sacred Stone Camp and steadfast mothers praying for peace. It is the color of peace. The rainbow people, red, yellow, brown, black, white, code pink, woman in black, all who unite under the banner of peace, paz, pi, fokoi, shalom, shalom, and on and on. It is the color future. It is sweetness and belief of Mila, my granddaughter, who blows dandelion seeds into the wind to assure next year's crop of flowers. It is resilience of human spirits to survive. It is Malala. It is Greta Thunberg leading strikes for the climate. War is not green. It is the color green. Indigenous visions, voices with wise healing. It is Winona LaDuke. It is Berta Caceres asesinando por defender la vida y la madre tierra. It is wind and solar, green communities, and evangelicals caring for all creation. It is sanctuary and shelter movements, the spirits of Jubilee South and North, united to end slavery of debt domination, to restore right relationships. It is the color of solidarity, accompaniment, fasting as witness, international days of protest and prayer, of women for peace, of human rights. It is the color heal. Doctors of the world, Doctors Without Borders, and the Crisis Management Initiative. It is the color build, of brigades building bridges and the force of nonviolence to rebuild. It is the nonviolent peace force in conflict zones, teaching to heal, forgive, transform trauma, build peace. It is Fernanda, Mena, Baheto Krum, and Robert Rivers, seeing through dark to heal with light.
Thank you, that was amazing. Rita and Cliff, thank you very much. My name is Denis, and I'm here to tell you a little bit more about Robert and Fernanda. And I know you've been standing, some of you, for a long time, but I hope that you find out things about them that you may not have known. You might find out in the next few minutes from me how it was that they were shaped, what path they walked in life to get here to Missoula and to be with all of you for the last 7 years or so. I met Robert when I was doing my master's degree and he was doing his master's degree in rural Austria, in a funny little place that we still remember fondly. And I met Fernanda when she came to Romania, where Robert and I lived together and worked together in the same place. That was in 2006, so a few years ago already. And I wanted to tell you some stories about their life paths, but I also wanted to share with you some values, the things that are important to them, the things that have guided them through these stories. When Robert met Fernanda, when I also met Fernanda, she had come to a little mountain town in Romania called Sabata from Brazil. And until that moment, she had built a career in Brazil as a trauma psychologist, as a clinical psychologist. She worked in a hospital, she worked with street kids in slums. She had worked for 10 years, and she was an established professional. But what she decided to do after that was to, in the words of an American philosopher, step out onto nothing to find out that she was standing on something. She left her home, she left her culture, her family, some of whom are with us here today, her loving family. She left a thriving career and a happy life because she felt the calling to serve people beyond her country, to serve people around the world. So she came to Romania, and she didn't speak as much English as she does now, but she came to this training and she wanted to just try it and just see, and she ended up being one of the best students in the training. And that takes courage. It takes courage to just step away from this success and happiness that you have. And that courage was driven in her, I believe, by a calling for service. And this is something that both Fernanda and Robert share, this calling for service, to serve people wherever they are, whether it's here in Missoula, all of you, or whether it's in the depths of South Sudan, where there's no roads, no water, no sanitation, no hospitals, nothing but people and their actions. So I want you to remember, service is the first thing that brought these people together. And they met at this training. Robert was actually the lead trainer at this training. So this is where the love began. This is where that chapter of their life began. It was wonderful to see. But I also want to tell you about a formative experience that Robert had. He left Montana to go to Mexico. How many years ago was that, Robert? Almost 20 years ago. You're a young man then. So young Robert left Montana and he went to Tijuana in Mexico. And he was involved in a project which focused on providing homes for people who lived in Tijuana. And I'm sure many of you know much better than I, since it's much closer to Montana than it is to Spain, where I now live. But Tijuana is full of people who have come there as migrants, as refugees, as people searching for a better life. And it's a very needy place, and it's a very fragmented place as well, because people have been displaced. They're there, they don't know many people, they need housing, they have all kinds of needs, not just physical but social as well. And so what Robert did in this project, where he began as a humble builder, and he worked his way up and became a manager of one of the projects of this organization, is that they brought these people that needed housing together to help each other build houses. And there was a rule that you had to participate in the building of 10 houses for other people before those other people got together and built a house for your family. They had to meet every week for 2 years as part of this process, all these people that were building these houses for each other. And so they formed a community. They got to know each other. They got to understand each other. They were in a process together that was empowering them, that was giving them the opportunity to not just address their needs in terms of a roof over their heads, but to also address their needs to have relationships and to feel supported in this community, which for many of them was foreign. And Robert also helped the people that came from the US to connect with the Mexicans. They did it together, they were in it together. And what it created was a transformative process. For him, this has been a point of reference for the rest of his life, for the rest of his career until now, that you could have people both addressing their needs for housing and addressing their needs for community interaction and relationships, and transforming two different groups of people who come together and do a project together and work jointly. And this is the second value that I want you to remember, deep transformation. This is another thing that brings Robert and Fernanda together and explains why they do what they do here as well. Let me tell you another couple of stories, if that's okay. Yeah? Okay. So, after Fernanda decided to serve people beyond her home country of Brazil, She went to many different places as a trauma counselor. And those were not the best places in the world, let me tell you. I haven't been to many of those places, and I'm not sure that I really want to go. They're not the kind of places where you get excited about going. But I'll tell you one story from Palestine where I have been, which is a story of one person, but it is about all the work that she's done for years and years. It's a story of an 11-year-old boy, 11-year-old Palestinian boy, who had experienced so much trauma and so much violence in his 11 years on this earth that he was shattered. He couldn't speak, he couldn't interact with people. He would wet his bed every night. He was waiting for people to come and kill his family because of everything that he'd seen. And his parents brought him to Fernanda as a trauma psychologist, and they said, can you help him? Because his life is over. So she started talking to him, and he started talking to her, and after a couple of weeks, he explained to her that one of the things that he does is climb up on the roof of their house every night. So if he saw missiles coming towards their house, he could run downstairs and tell his family, and he could protect his family and save them this way. Can you imagine an 11-year-old kid every night, instead of sleeping, going out and waiting for the missiles to come? But Fernanda's a pro. So she worked with him until he felt better, until he again could interact with people, until he stopped wetting his bed. And that took only a couple of weeks. Can you imagine how much skill you need to have to be able to do that? But you need to have another thing. The other thing that you need to have is love. You need to be able to love the people that you are with, that you are accompanying, that you are trying to help, that you are living side by side with. And this love has taken Fernanda to Goma in eastern Congo, where there are many, many hundreds and thousands of women who've been traumatized by rape as a weapon of war. This love has taken Fernanda to Sri Lanka. It's taken her to South Sudan, where she lived in tents alongside the South Sudanese and was with them to listen to them and to help them. So love is the third one that I want you to remember. They both share this. All three of these, they share, and that's what brings them together, Fernanda and Robert. Let me tell you another story about Robert. They were in Sri Lanka together, working. And they both began as humble foot soldiers of peace. They were civilian peacekeepers, people who are unarmed but who do the work of the blue helmets of the UN. And actually they go into places where the UN doesn't go because it's too dangerous. That's the kind of peacekeeping that we're talking about here. And to be perfectly honest with you, when Robert would call me from Sri Lanka, and we would talk about how it was, and sometimes we would meet up when he had his time off, he wasn't full of enthusiasm. He didn't like it there. It was difficult for him physically, it was difficult emotionally, it was difficult to observe what was going on in this country and how people interacted. But what he did in a year was amazing. Despite this kind of feeling of not being super enthused, he took an organization which was at crisis point, which was experiencing huge problems with the government, which was experiencing big problems with their staff, which had just gone through a situation which could have broken down all the work of this organization in this country. And he went from being a humble peacekeeper like dozens of others in this organization. Within 6 weeks, he was promoted to be senior project manager, program manager, which is the second rank in the country. He completely rebooted their security system so that people would be more responsible, be more safe, and be more conscious about how they were doing work for the people of Sri Lanka. And he completely rebooted and I think from scratch created their training system, their capacity building system. This is really impressive stuff. I mean, I've learned from this man as a trainer. He's been my training mentor ever since I started doing training work. So I know how good he is. But the fact that you can get recognized in an organization when you come in from the ground and then you're promoted to the very top because of what you can do in a crisis situation, that is driven by commitment. So that's the fourth thing that I want you to remember. Commitment. Absolute, resolute commitment to what they do. And you've seen it here for years. Look at what they've done. There's another thing I want you to know about the two of them, and that is that they're not just activists, they're not just practitioners, they're not just peacekeepers. They're also thinkers, and they're scholars. Fernanda has published multiple articles in Portuguese and in English. She's got a book chapter that's been published in Portuguese, which is being translated to English now as we speak. She's a researcher. Robert worked, when we lived together in Romania, on a guidebook which ended up being the best guidebook at the time on how to train adults for peace building and peacekeeping work. It was commissioned by the European Union. I've used that handbook. It was the best that there was out there. They're not just actors, they're thinkers. And I'm gonna stop now because I could tell you stories for the rest of the day. I love these two. They really mean a lot to me. And I love coming here to Montana to visit them and to visit all of you. But I'm just going to leave you with the 4 values that have guided them and that have brought them to this place where they are now and to this award which they've deservedly won. So you remember, because I think it's important. A feeling of service that is grounded in love, and a drive for deep transformation that is driven by deep commitment. And if you want to know more, because there's plenty more, they're here. Talk to them. Congratulations, guys.
One of you took the rest of my notes. Thank you. I could wing it, but I'd now like to introduce you to the Missoula Peace Quilters. They are the ones behind this award. And again, they're going to have to stand, raise their hands. I think most of them might be up here. The Missoula Peace Quilters, come on, don't be shy. They are quilters because they know how to bring disparate pieces of cloth together, disparate ideas and opinions, and make one quilt with one path forward. They've made a quilt each year, as I said, for each of our 33 peacemakers. It has been a unique quilt made especially for that peacemaker, one of a kind, no other quilt like it. They've also made quilts of friendship and sent them around the world. They made a quilt to raise money for the Jeannette Rankin Peace Center's new roof. And they've welcomed the first refugees in our community with a quilt of their own. The beauty that has been added to this community by this group is amazing. Most awards get a plaque or a trophy or something like that, but there will never be another award like this one. It's made to reflect each individual peacemaker by loving hands, guided by a desire for peace and a personal commitment to work toward it. Please join me in applause for the Peace Quilters, and then I would like to ask Suzanne Sterrett to come up and represent them and explain and show us the quilt that they have spent the last, 9 months working on. So, Peace Quilters.
Thank you all for being here, and thank you, Fernanda and Robert. This is such a delightful time to unveil the quilt. I so delight in being the one who likes to gab because I get to do this. And but I am not alone in making it by any means. This wonderful group of women, it is the most powerful thing I do, actually. It's fabulous. We work together in our area of delight and creativity to make this quilt. And if any of you have hobbies or creative outlets that you use, imagine coming to the result with 6 or 7 or more people and their opinions and their ideas and creating one thing that we honor the commitment to consensus. So it's not just, I think it should be red. And nobody else is like, well, I like orange, but red's okay, whatever. It's a matter of actually talking it through, coming to that awareness of other people's ideas. And while simple in reflection to the work that the two of you have done, it feels so wonderful to practice that in simplicity. And I honor all of these women and everything that we all contribute, we all bring to the table, and our respect for each other to listen. So this quilt, I think I'll just unveil it. Oh, thank you. This quilt, I think, primarily reflects the concept of, of each of us as individuals connecting to our universe. And we do it here. We do it in this brewery. We do it with these two people. And thank you. There were colors that were reflective of power and strength, of Mexico and South America, very important in their lives. And the spinning universe was something we've never done before, so it was kind of fun to do that. Also, there are little clusters of aspen around the universe, which came up as aspen being all the same. They have the same DNA. We share our origin. So that is in here. The bare grass down on the bottom is a reflection of Montana, and that it is certainly a beautiful, beautiful example of our world at its most delightful. And the silhouettes are actually of the two of you. So on the left is Fernanda, and on the right is Robert, facing each other in strength and joining that spinning universe. The top piece of wood was created by one of our members' husbands, Nick Boynton, and he took great care in choosing just the right piece of wood and just the right curve and everything to hold it. The strings attaching, the cords attaching are tied in knots that are of Chinese and Indian Sanskrit origin that reflect goodwill and well-being. And then, oh no, that is not all, said the cat. Here we go. On the back is our traditional label that says May 18, 2019, Missoula Peacemaker Award presented to Robert Rivera and Fernanda Marina Barreto Krum, by the Jeannette Rankin Peace Center and made by the Missoula Peace Quilters, and a bison going into this one. So thank you for the opportunity. It was wonderful.
It's your turn now. You think you want to accept the award?
I think as our task will, or our staff will attest, it's rare that I'm at a loss for words. Nor do my glasses fog up very often from crying. We actually normally kind of go off the cuff, but for those of you who work with your partner in marriage, sometimes things are good also to prepare a little bit too. But we really just wanted to, we just prepared something very short and small because in a lot of ways, this place speaks for us, and all these beautiful people have also spoken for the things that are in our hearts today. But we do have just a short thing for you.
So we would like first to thank the people that made this possible. It's not that easy to bring all of this together in the way that it is right now, and I delegated everything and everything works and it's amazing. I feel that way. So we need to thank first our Peace Quilters for your love and your dedication to this beautiful gift. We want to thank the Jeannette Rankin Peace Center, Betsy, for your dedication and your love and your care and excitement, and Janie as well, wherever you are, and all of you there. We want to thank our staff, my colleagues, for believing in this and for doing your own peacemaking in the world. Thank you. We also want to thank all others that have made this day possible. And you know all who you are. Before that, I forgot important people too. Rita and Cliff, thank you for believing in us, for the nomination, for acknowledging. And thank you, Denis, for coming all the way here, for accepting our invitation and being there for us when we need you. And the last one, we also thank all the people that we worked with that cannot be here right now, but that made us who we are right now. Thank you.
And you can sing it from the end if you want. You know, so many things have been said, I think, about who we are as human beings, and we thought, you know, if we could distill it down to one thing, ourselves, for who we are and what has made us who we are and what drives us, it is connection. It is connection. You know, decades ago, we both decided to leave our families, not to leave them behind, but to leave them so that we could search for connections that expanded and extended beyond our most intimate circles.
throughout that journey, the greatest gift came in discovering friends with whom we could share. With whom we could share the most important vocation, which is to use this one life we have to make a little bit of a change and to make this world a little bit better. In time, our consciousness shifted and those friends became brothers and sisters, nephews, nieces, aunts, and uncles, and cousins. The other, as it were, began to fade away, and in its place, family. This process continued to ripple out until the veil was lifted and we began to see all people as family.
So I think with that said, this day, as grateful as we are for this honor, is not just about us. It's about the greater us, this family that's gathered here and that extends beyond this room. And so, as a trainer, I'd like to invite all of you into what might feel like a slightly uncomfortable space. Research shows that there is no growth that happens in times of comfort. And so what I want you to do, in order to kind of maybe let these ripples that Fernanda's talked about go a little further, is I want you, each one of you, I want you to think about somebody. Think about somebody in your life that you love very much. We all have someone we love. This is one of the many things that connects all of us. I want you to think about that person. It could be a partner or a child, mom or dad, brother, sister, friend. But think about that person. Bring that person into your mind. And I want you to see how you feel when you think about that person. Be very aware of how you feel about that person. You got it? And now what I want you to do is I want you to look at a stranger, someone in this room that you don't know. And I want you to look at that person with this energy, this feeling that you have inside of yourself. Find somebody. You're going to actually have to physically look at somebody. Find somebody who you don't know and listen. We are a divided country right now, and we will remain divided unless we can start to look at each other as family. So really, don't roll your eyes right now. This is serious. Find somebody you don't know. Look at them and send them that energy. Look at them with that energy that you have inside yourself.
It feels good, doesn't it? Yeah. So let's remember to do this more often. We can. We can connect beyond. We all want a world where we feel connection. We all do. But that connection only happens if we are willing to take the risk and bring it into existence. If we, as a people, can harness this energy and make it the base of all our actions, all of them, every day. Truly, we can change the world together.
We are because of each other.
We are because of each other. Thank you.
Are amazing. Thank you. And I'd like to now bring up some other amazing people, 32 other peacemakers, many of whom are here. I'd like to ask them to please join us here so that you can see this great picture of peace in Missoula. If you're here, you're a peacemaker, please come forward. This is going to be just such an amazing picture. And if there's any of our young peacemakers here, still here, please come forward too. Allison, Cecilia, Lily, Maisie, the young folks from the UCC, United Church of Christ, Emma, Kara, Lindsay. Somebody please get a picture because this is Peace in Missoula. This is amazing work that's been done. Thank you all. Thank you. Yes, yes, thank you. You know, there are far too few honors for those who have worked for peace. Far too few times that we honor our local heroes who are doing good work. We do have several peacemakers who are not with us, and the list is on a couple plaques and in those scrapbooks over there. And there are 7 peacemakers who are looking down from heaven on us. Julie Grant, Alice Campbell, Scott Nicholson, there's pictures up there, John Bow, Dan Gallagher, Mike Chesson. So looking down from heaven also on this group. The Missoula Peace Quilters, thank you from the Missoula Peace Quilters have done an amazing job. But the Missoula Women's Chorus has one final gift of music, and I believe the Congolese choir is going to join them? No. Okay. So I would like to again present the Montana Women's Chorus Missoula chapter for one final gift of music.
What better way to celebrate community than to have a sing-along? This is a wonderful song from Judy Fiel, who is the founder of the Montana Women's Chorus. It's called Will You Join Me on This Journey? And your part, well, there are lots of parts, but kind of the simplest part is like this. We'll send love. We'll send love on this journey. That's all. On this journey. Join me. Join us. We'll send love. We'll send love on this journey. On this journey. Will you join me on this journey? It gives me strength to
your hand. The road is long, sometimes I'm weary. Will you take my hand? We'll send love in the sand, rolls of our feet. We'll send love in the souls of all the people we meet on this journey. On this journey, we'll take the sand down to the sea, providing a way that all can be free on this journey. On this journey, will you join me on this journey? How I need to hear your voice. So many times I can't find the words. Will you sing to me with your lovely voice? Here's your part. We'll send love. We'll send love. Our people send love to all the people we meet on this journey. On this journey, we'll help the sand down to the sea, providing a way that all can be free on this journey. On this journey. Join me on this journey. It lightens my heart when I see you smile. Sometimes I am discouraged. Will you just look my way and smile? We'll send love to the souls of our feet, we'll send love to the souls of all the people we meet on this journey. On this journey, we'll help justice roll on down to the sea, providing a way that all can be free on this journey. On this journey, will you join me? On this journey, I want you there beside me. There are times when I will lose my way, but you, my friend, you will guide me. We'll send love to the sand, souls of our feet. We'll send love to the on this journey, on this journey, we'll help justice roll down the sea, making a way that all can free on this journey, on this journey, we'll send love, everybody, we'll send love on this journey. On this journey, one more time, we'll send love, we'll send love on this journey, on this journey.
Presentation for the two of you. A couple of us wanted you to remember today besides just with the quilt. So there's something that a couple of us thought you might want to have hanging in the brewery somewhere. While she's getting that together, please stick around to celebrate with Fernanda and Robert and our young peacemakers. We have Bernice's cupcakes in the center over there, and Bernice has donated some of those in part, and then I think Robert's mother made some pasties, so we do have some things to celebrate with, and of course, lots of beer and drinks to buy, right? So drink up. You can also purchase food from Krum or the other food vendor truck outside. And I want to let you know that some of the profits for today, when you purchase drinks, will go to support Nonviolent Peace Force, which is a global nonprofit that works to protect civilians in conflict zones. Yes. I'm also going to call your attention to this table over here. Please sign the guest book. You can find out more about the Peace Center and about some of our events and about membership in the Peace Center, which helps us keep these events and our doors open. And there's a nomination form. So if you know somebody who'd make a good peacemaker for 2020, take a form and let us know who that is. So let's celebrate Fernanda, Mina, Beretta, Krum, and Robert Rivers.